Yep, this podcast is very old. Who cares? I know. New Year's resolution. We're uploading this in like freaking May, but whatever. This is a quality podcast. Just every time we say New Year's resolution, just say future goal. It doesn't matter. The idea and the premise of the podcast still is relevant. It's starting now. Hello. 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 I hear you. Okay, so before we start, I just want to say, wait, are you still here?
Yep.
Okay. I just want to say, I might not upload the last one. I might. Because, I'm not 100% sure. Because one, we were talking about, slightly controversial, not bad controversial, but ironically, I feel like the worst thing we talked about was Reddit. And I was like, Redditors don't like when you talk about Reddit badly. So I was like, that episode might not go well. We upload it. And then we talked about the freaking acting thing. And not that it was, I think it was kind of a slow episode. I might keep it in the archives and release it, like, if people start asking.
All right, I'm cool with that.
But I might split it. I'll still re-listen to it just to see. Because, it might be different when I'm listening to it with no one talking or whatever. Or I might just combine some of it with this podcast. I don't know. The power of editing, who knows? But I guess I'll say it again, just in case I don't combine it or whatever. Hello, this is Jabari Wisdom, and today we're going to be talking about, we might do it. We might just go right back to the controversy. We might just, I don't know how many episodes, how many podcasts have we talked about? I might just end this podcast right here. This is just not good. This is not a good day. Not a good day. But we might have to go right back to the No, I don't know. Should it be a controversial podcast? Do you want a controversial podcast? I mean, those are the juicy ones, though.
I mean, like, that's entertaining, and it is like juicy, and it like kind of like opens up people to different perspectives, and even really just challenge our own views and beliefs. However, let's do it like this. How about we, in the description for the episode, you ask the viewers if they would like a controversial podcast for the next episode.
But then that might get an answer back 5 years from now.
True. True. Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's just be very careful with our wording.
We're going to have a controversial podcast, and what we're going to be talking about today is this is probably the most controversial thing in a while. I don't know if we got this controversial, but it's going to be about being... Hello? Hello? Dang. Okay, that's a sign that we should not do the podcast then, because I cannot hear you.
My apologies. I got a phone call, and it literally just threw everything off whack. I have like my AirPods in, and the phone call just kind of screwed everything up.
That was a sign. We're not being controversial anymore. Nope. That was too many signs. That's it. I'm not doing it. We're not being controversial. So we're going to just talk about, we might talk about some recent news. So hello, this is Jabari Wisdom, and today we're going to be talking about, we might as well talk about what you think 2021 is for store, because, that hopefully won't be controversial and cause, big problems, because we tried 3 other times and, it didn't work.
Not one bit.
So let's start with the big news, the obvious news of, 2021, then we can go to our future prospects. The Capitol freaking raid. What do you think about that? It's freaking
another
crazy.
Phone call. Hold on. I'm sorry.
Oh, I guess we're not talking about that then.
No, we are. Hold on.
No. That's a sign.
All right, there we go. I just had to send a text. I need to start sending out mass text messages when I start recording with you so I don't get phone calls and whatnot.
Actually, while you were doing that, I thought of another idea. Instead of talking about our future prospects or talking about, the events of 2020, what just happened, because those kind of deflate. Like after how many years, I guess looking back, it would be kind of cool. Like, oh wow, this is what they thought back then about what we already know. But no. I think instead, oh, my dad's pulling. Why does that happen every time I do a podcast? My dad pulls it. But I think what we should talk about is the New Year resolutions. Do you have any New Year resolutions?
Wow. I'm going to let you go first.
No. You go first.
All right. Do I have any New Year's resolutions? Honestly, no. I don't necessarily believe in New Year's resolutions. And the only reason I don't is it's kind of like the typical go-getter attitude, so to speak. I'll always refrain from setting New Year's resolutions. One, because it's hard to commit to something like right off the bat. However, I don't like waiting until the new year to starting something. And then because most New Year's resolutions, they're done and over with by like March at the latest, April. You know what I mean? And then they fall off, and then they try to to do it again. And then they're like, that'll be my New Year's resolution for next year. Me personally, if there's something that I want to change, I try to change it when I think about it. And when I'm like, okay, this is something I want to change, or this is something I want to do more of, then that's when I actually try to start implementing it in my life. But waiting for the new year or saying, well, so new year, new me, I hate that mentality also. I don't know. So to answer your question, no, I don't have any New Year's resolutions for that reason alone. However, what I can tell you is just what I've been trying to implement in my life for the past month, going back to early December. And that's pretty much getting back in the habit of waking up early, no matter how tired I am, and hitting my workout as soon as I wake up. So therefore I can be done and I can enjoy the rest of the day or do whatever throughout the day without having to worry about being able to go to the gym or not. Getting back to eating healthy. I've been getting in the process of, buying the right groceries and whatnot moving forward, and practicing my instruments more. Ever since I'd say September, October, I haven't been paying much attention to my guitars. I've been paying more attention to my violin. However, I miss playing my guitars a lot. So it's really just getting back into how I used to be around fall of last year. Well, I'd say between summer and fall, I was doing really good, and then I kind of fell off. But the only thing that I'm changing now that I'm living on my own and have a studio is just actually producing, recording, and writing more music. So by the end of this year or later on in this year, preferably, hopefully around fall, I can at least start to preview some music that I want to start releasing. And just, producing different people's material throughout the year, whether it be people that I don't know or, your stuff that you showed me, something for my sisters or something for a friend of mine on top of my stuff. So just getting more in tune, of what I want to do. So those aren't my New Year's resolutions. Those are just things that I've been implementing and planning for myself for quite some time.
But I do feel for people who are bad at making New Year's resolutions, or people who are New Year, new me. Oh, I'm going to start exercising, blah 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 blah, and then everyone's in the gym before COVID, everyone was in the gym. The first January of the year, and then by March, no one's in the gym like usual.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel the problem with that is that people set their goals too high.
Yes, they do.
They'll say, I want to go to the gym more. Oh, I'm going to go to the gym every day. And it's too high. So they already burn out by the time it's February.
Yeah.
And it's I feel people need to have more moderate
realistic
goals. Yeah, realistic goals that are just they should be ashamed of just saying okay, I hope instead of not working out, I hope I can work out once a week.
That's way too less.
It's not still, that's better than nothing.
I mean,
that's better than going every day.
You're right.
See what you're doing is the goal. You're messing up the resolution by saying that's too much. Like you got to start somewhere. So it's better to start low than to start too high and then you give up.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. However,
the problem with people is not their like resolution, is that they go way too OD to the point where it's like, you know, you have a whole year where you're trying to do a goal. You're not trying to do it all within a month. You're trying to get like a goal that by the end of the year, you look back and you're like, wow, I did this. Like say someone who's trying to say, I want to save more money. Well, why not actually have like a set goal? Like where you're like, I want to save $100 a month. Like, yeah, that's not going to get me that much, but I'm saving more. No, that resolution is settled.
I agree with that mentality. However, the only reason I said like one day in the gym is too less, not even because I go to the gym, to create actually a habit of something, one day a week is too less. Because if, let's say you start on Sunday or Monday, right? You legit, and you wait until the following week around Sunday or Monday.
But you're thinking of it as someone who goes to the gym regularly.
And it's not just the gym. It's like with anything. Like,
but still, let's say, okay, then example me. I never went to the gym until my sophomore year of college. So I don't know, like I know I went to the gym that one time with you.
Right.
I don't know what year that was. That must have been for my freshman year.
15 or 16.
But I didn't go to like the gym like regularly until my sophomore year of college. And that was my New Year's resolution, was to go to the gym more. And I started going to the gym only one on the weekends every Saturday. Every Saturday I would go to the gym. You know, I wasn't like, it was a time where I wasn't too busy. It was a time where, you know, I could get some stuff done without like, you know, feel like, oh man, I'm going to be, you know, I had to do my homework or something crazy. So it was like a moderate goal. And then slowly I worked up to the point where I was doing it every other day. So I feel like slowly working your way up, like, because if you can't do even one day a week, then you weren't going to be able to do the 3 days a week or 4 days a week or even higher.
Right.
But if you could do 1 day a week, then hopefully you could like, you know, inspire yourself to be like, dang, I want to, you know, do some more. Maybe, you know, my arms aren't growing as fast as I thought they would. So let me go even more. Let me do 2 days a week this time.
2 to 3
let me do 3 days a week. Because I feel like the problem is that people, like, which you were right about, is that people aren't good at getting a habit. They like give up on that habit because it takes 3 weeks to make a habit, basically. What they say, 3 weeks to make a habit. How long's 3 weeks? 3 weeks, a month. And what do you see? Right after January, people give up because they mess up on their habit. They don't last that 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And it could be because they're doing it, like they do, like, you know, regular people who are, you know, going to the gym all the time. Like say you, I don't know how often you go to the gym, but let's just say you go to the gym 4 days a week or something. It's like, if someone who doesn't go to the gym at all goes 4 days a week, by that second week, they're going to be done. They're like, I can't do this anymore.
See, that's so tired. Okay, let me refrain. Not refrain. Let me recant my statement and rephrase it. Because your statement just now, honestly, just kind of sparked it. And also what you said originally. It depends on the person, because for some people, 1 day a week doing something is good. As far as, you know, they can say, okay, I can stay consistent with 1 day a week. If I can manage that, I can do more. If I can't, then I can't. However, there are other people, and it's not more so like they're being unrealistic, but there are other people that if they go 1 day, like let's say you want to learn a new language, right? Or like somebody's like, I want to take up cooking. You know what I mean? If you cook, again, I'm just using Monday because that's the easiest day. You cook on a Monday, right? You go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 6 days without cooking. And then it comes back to that Monday. For that one person, they're like, well, damn, I've already been like a week without cooking. I don't have to do Monday. I can do Tuesday. And then they put it off even more. That's why I said 1 day is too less, but it depends on the person. Let me rephrase that. Or, yeah, let me elaborate on that. 1 day a week for something is probably too less depending on the person. Only because
it tells me that most people should do that one, because it seems to me, from what I saw, or what I usually see, is that people give up things super easily because they go all in too fast.
And also people give up very easily because they start off with that once a week. Like, so, you know, the gym, right?
I don't know, because you never hear about someone saying like, oh, I'm going to start out slow and then go better. Like, let's say you want to run a mile. Like, this is a good example. I know someone who wants to, like, because of military, they want to be able to run a mile with under a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're like, oh, I can't do it. Oh, I'm still, I'm not as fast as I used to be or whatever. But the thing is, like, if you take it slow, you have a better chance of, getting there than if you, go try to do it as hard as you can and then give up because you can't do it.
See, again,
Because, like,
that depends on the
let's say if
person.
you're running a mile, like on a treadmill, if you started at number 6, and every week you go up 1 digit to 6.1, then now 6.2, 6.3, 6.4. By the summer, you're gonna be at like freaking 8. You're gonna be running 8 like it's nothing. And that's my way of thinking, because I'm like, it's better to start slow and make it easy for yourself than to start hard and make it hard for yourself, because most people give up for hard things.
You're right. Now you made a good point, but you also said a key word, because that's just, I'm quoting you, that's just my frame of thinking. That's why I said it depends on the person, because even so, New Year's resolutions is essentially a list, whether how long or how small it is, of something people truly want to implement in their lives, right? So if somebody truly wants to implement something in their life, it's up to them to keep it going. Me personally, I started working out seriously in 2019, like 4th of July 2019 is when I started my fitness journey, right? If I would have only went 1 day, and after that first day, you're going to be sore as shit. You're not going to want to go back for like a week or whatever. You know what I mean? However, going a couple of times, like within the week, not having a full routine where I'm like, now if I'm at a consistent state in the gym, I go 6 days a week with only 1 day off. Whereas before, I didn't start like that. I started at least 3 days, so therefore I could have 2 to 3 days of recovery and then go back. So therefore, I had the consistency of 3 days. I'm like, okay, this isn't that bad. And then I have my rest days, and then I come back. And then it went from 3 days to 4 days to 5 days, and now to 6 days. And now I can cut it and go it however I want. And if I take 2 months off, I can easily go back and do 6 days a week with no problem. When I started running, I ran with somebody that actually ran track and played soccer. They left me every fucking time. However, the first day was terrible. I only ran consistently, maybe for 6 to 20 seconds. And I honestly don't even think I lasted that long. And then I walked for the remainder of the time. And then the next day, I just kept going, and I just like kept pushing. So somebody with a mentality similar to mine, like if they truly want to change something or like implement something, they don't need that 1 day. They don't need to ease their way into it. Not saying they have to go full fledged, like they don't have to go hard, but they don't have to go soft.
I'm saying, you're thinking of someone who is, say, like you, who from the start, they're like, they fully want to like get to these certain points by certain points. Like they're going 3 days a week, first try starting out, and they're consistently staying on that. Whether that's because they're with a friend or whatever, they're consistently staying on that. I don't think most people are like that. I feel like most people are just, they think to themselves, I'm getting kind of pudgy or whatever. I want to work out. I want to, change this, blah, 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 blah. They might not know all the routines or whatever.
I didn't either. I just like went. So, but here's the problem with what you're saying, at least the problem that I'm finding. And, help me see your perspective, because when you said that, let's say they see that they're getting pudgy and they just like want to lose weight or whatever, you know what I mean? If you see that and you want to work out, and you see that you're getting pudgy, your goal in mind is to not be pudgy, right? So, you have to put the work in. If you're serious about it, you don't have to go 1 day only. You don't have to go 3 days. You can go 2 days. You can go 1 day and then go every other day. Or you can choose 2 days out of the week. But just like 1 day, if you're not serious, that 1 day is just that. Whereas with New Year's resolutions, if there's something that somebody actually wants to make a habit of and actually implement into their life seriously, then they don't need just that 1 day. They don't need to go full hard. They don't even need to go like 4 days or whatever.
Here is an example that I feel like you would identify with. Let's say if you're practicing a piece of music.
Yep.
You don't just go through the whole song first try. Like, you might try, but it's not going to work out. Most of the time, you go measure by measure. Like, okay, let me try to do this first measure. Okay, let me try to do the second. Okay, let me try to do first and second. Okay, let me try to do third. Let me try to do the first and second, third. okay, let me try to do the first page. Like you work your way up into like doing more and more and more and more and more. But if you just keep trying to just bullcrap your way through the full song each time, and then it's just not working out, it's either going to take longer or you're going to give up by the time.
See, learning an instrument.
Because you can't
I'm
even
glad you
play
brought that up.
the first measure.
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm going to use the violin. You remember how when I started the violin, I sent you a picture of my violin and I said, I might just quit this because it's a completely different beast than the guitar. I literally did measure by measure, right? And then the first day I was like, yo, this is fucking hell. And then, so I tell people that my violin journey seriously didn't start until like September or October, right? But I bought my guitar, not my guitar, I bought my violin August 19th. I played it that one day and I tried, getting accustomed to it and tried learning about the violin. And after that one day, I said, okay, that was good enough. I legit practiced for about 3 to 4 hours when I bought this thing. And I thought that was good enough. And then I did not pick my violin up again until September. So then I started being consistent. I said, all right, instead of me trying to do everything, or not even try to do everything, instead of me just saying like one day is good, I'm going to do this today and I'm going to do this tomorrow and I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to analyze how good I'm doing or like pretty much how I feel. And then I'm going to decide when I'm going to practice next. And that's when I started getting a practice regimen for that. It wasn't just that one day, because the reason you can't use it analogy
Wait, but
of
I'm not
learning
talking about practicing.
No. I'm getting
a song, not
I'm getting the
practicing
song,
violin
but
itself.
the song, that's like saying in terms of the song, because you originally brought up the gym, so I'm going to equate the gym to the song. This is how it's different. Me practicing one day is the same thing as going to the gym that one day. Me practicing one song.
No.
Hold on, Jabari. Practicing once, because I do both. Practicing one song is the equivalent of trying to get through one full workout. So if you take it piece by piece, like measure by measure in a song, that's taking it either rep by rep or exercise by exercise within a workout. That's why it's not the same thing.
I think it is, because you're thinking about it in a completely off way. Because
I'm thinking about it in the actual logical way.
What I'm saying is that when you try to overdo something, it's worse. You're more likely to give up. But if you do it slowly and build upon that more and more, you're more likely to actually finish. In the same way, I said, as if you try to play the entire song, like each time you play a song, you're like, I'm going to try to play the whole song, and then I'm going to do it again and try to play the whole song. You're not taking it measure by measure. But if you take it measure by measure, slowly, you'll start to get it. Instead of doing measure by measure, now you might do it 2 measures by 2 measures. Then you might do it 3 measures by 3 measures. Then 4 measures by 4 measures. You'll slowly get better and better and better and want to do more and more and more. Okay. You won't be satisfied with that 1 measure by 1 measure anymore.
Okay, I'm going to take everything.
Oh, I can play another part of that song.
I'm going to take everything you said. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, because I literally see where you're coming from, but I don't see it that way. And I'm going to try to explain to you why, get you to see why I don't see it that way. And then we can keep talking, because this is very interesting, because we have 2 different opinions on this. And it's crazy because you chose 2 different things that I love doing. I love working out and I love playing and learning music. So it's like very interesting to me to talk, like use these analogies. So let's take it measure by measure, right? Instead of trying to learn, let's use a music example first. Instead of learning a full song, right? You say take it measure by measure, and then take it 2 measures by 2 measures, depending upon your advancement, right?
Yeah.
So what if the first day that I pick up anybody picks up an instrument, and instead of like they say, okay, I want to learn this song, and then I want to learn this song, and then I want to like learn, but I have to take it measure by measure, right? Let's say they do measure by measure and they just learn the first 3 or 4 measures in one day. So you're telling them to come back a complete week later and then see if they can remember that, and then go measure by measure at that point, because they're going to have to spend not bulk, but they have to spend a good portion of their time the next week remembering what they learned the last week. Whereas if they had
I'm not talking about taking it day by day. I'm saying if you had a whole day, let's say,
but you can't.
We take away nobody has. You have one day to finish. Let's say you have one. Say you have one day to learn a song.
Okay.
And let's say you've never seen this song before, and it's a complicated song. You're not going to just keep trying to play the entire song from the whole page, just in one go. If you can't do it in one go, you go over again and try to play the whole page in one go.
That's like saying...
I'm saying a more efficient way of doing it is to first try the first measure. You get that down. Try the second measure. You get that down. Third measure. You get that down. Maybe you start seeing a pattern now. So now you do it 2 measures. You do first measure, second measure, third measure, fourth measure in one go. Now you do first measure, blah, 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 all the way to 8th measure. So now you don't need to practice one measure by one measure because you're starting to get the flow of the song. Now you can do it 2 measures by 2 measures. Now you're getting more of the flow of the song. You feel more confident. You could do 3 measures of sight reading and do well.
Okay, and
but what I'm saying your equivalent is just trying to do the full piece over and over and over again.
No.
Okay, I'll do the whole full piece again.
And I'm trying to explain to you why that. I'm trying to explain to you why you're misinterpreting what I'm saying, because when I learn a song, that's truly what I do. But that's literally just within one day. Somebody can learn a song and say, okay, that's that. That's literally it. Somebody can just do that one day and say, okay, that's that. And then they don't feel the need to do it again for a long time. The reason I said that's not what I'm saying, and that's not the equivalent of implementing it throughout your week or whatever, is because that's literally just one day. And nobody has freaking hours to do something new. They just don't. And if you expect somebody to do something for like hours, or not even like hours, like for a long...
But isn't that what you're expecting them to do by doing multiple times a week?
That's hours across days as opposed to hours within one day.
But say some people don't have multiple days to do something.
When somebody's working, they have multiple, unless they work a job that they have to be there 6 to 7 days a week, they have multiple days, they're off days to do something. Whereas if somebody's working...
I would ask you, then why is it so hard for someone to keep a gym routine?
And I'm trying to explain that to you. That's why I said it depends on the person.
What, because they're not working out enough? No, but most people have trouble keeping a gym routine. If that wasn't the case, then most people would go to the gym.
Jabari, you're talking to somebody that actually had to go through that. So I'm telling you why.
And you're acting like I didn't have to go through that.
I'm not saying you didn't have to go through it.
I go through it more than you do.
That's because
you go to the gym more.
Yes, because...
So if anything, I'm more in the position of
my sister went to the gym with me, and she stopped going to the gym. I'm telling you her reason why. I literally trained this girl and watched her in the gym. I'm telling you why she quit. And I talk to people in the gym. I'm telling you why a lot of people quit. Like last year, I was there during the wave of people going through their New Year's resolutions and everything. The reason a lot of people quit is because within the first month, they cannot deal with the soreness, because you're going to be extremely sore. When I first started working out, after my first successful arm day, when I could, actually after my first arm day, not even successful, I could not even extend my arms completely because my biceps...
Wait, so you're saying that people are unable to keep up with their gym routine because of the soreness. So you're saying to make them be able to deal with the soreness, you're going to force them to push through it for another 3 days.
I'm not going to force them to push, because if you're sore, let's say you do...
But you want them to do it 3 times a week.
Hear me out, Jabari. Hear me out. Let's say you do arms the first day, right? The next day, you're going to do something that you don't necessarily have to use your arms completely for, and that's legs. And then after that, the next day you can do chest. Then you see the soreness isn't really that bad, because as I do more...
You're thinking of it as you. What I'm saying, the average human being...
What makes me different than the average human being when I first started?
With the gym in general, I'm done. My arms are sore. I don't want to do my legs.
Exactly.
I'm done.
You're done, right?
And I'm saying, yes, you're done in general. You're done. You don't want to do legs now.
You do legs the next day or a couple days after.
No, you don't want to do... I'm saying the day after, you're done. You're done. You don't want to go to the gym at all.
Yeah, and if you go a week later and you try doing it that day, you're going to be sore again. It's going to constantly happen.
But it's going to at least be a week of waiting.
No, it's going to be a week of soreness, and then your body is like, okay, I'm not sore anymore, and you go back.
If they can't even do it once a week, they're not going to do it at all.
It's not that they can't do it once a week. They feel the soreness.
I'm saying if they
Jabari,
can't do it once a week, they're not going to do it 3 times a week.
Let me ask you a question.
That's logic.
No, it's literally life. Okay, so if you do something hard in life once, are you going to give up? Yes or no? If you do something...
See, that...
No, because it's the exact same thing. Going to the gym and having that soreness, that's the most difficult part within your first month is that soreness. If you can deal with that soreness, go throughout the week. After your first week, even my sister said after the first week she was not as sore as she thought she would be because her body got used to it.
What I'm saying, wait. But you were there to guide her. Most people don't have that guide.
If people have a gym membership,
they're doing the gym for the
they
first
can actually get the free trainer.
Wait. But most people who are going to the gym, like when they have these resolutions and they're saying they're going to the gym, it's because they are insecure about how their body is right now.
You're right.
So, if anything, they are less likely to want to have a trainer or to want to they want one, but these people, like, if only the super passionate, like the super focused are going to do these trainers or whatever. Most people are going to go by themselves. They're going to try to be like, oh, I can't do this.
Yeah, and they give up.
They might try again. Do it the second day. They're like, oh, I can't do this. And then by the freaking second, third week, they're done. They start pushing it back more and more and more.
So let me ask you a question.
Because
what makes me different than the average person? Because I was the average person when I started. I had no trainer, like, at all. I just went and I went and I went.
But that's like asking what's the difference between an A student and a C student.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. There are differences.
Jabari, there are people that have been in the gym as long as me that did not get the same result. See, there are two different concepts. I'm gonna tell you why.
The difference between an A student and a C student. Let's say an A student, they study, they get an A. A C student, they study, they give up.
Jabari, you talk to a C student. Like, I didn't want to put in the work.
But that's what I'm saying. Some people put in the work. You put in the work.
And others don't. That's why I say
don't put in that work.
That's why I say 1 day a week.
Most people don't put in that work. What is the difference? Like, why do you think those people who wouldn't put in the work for a month of workout would do 3 days a week?
Because the people that go for that 1 month of workout,
why would they do 3 days?
The people that go for that 1 month of workout, from what I've seen, you can even look at the statistics for the first part of the year's new gym members. They sign in significantly less than people that actually want to consistently go. They sign in 1 to 2 times a week. You can literally look it up.
An example. Here's an example that can't even be flawed. Let's say an A student, they're like a straight A student, 4.0. They're like, yeah, I study 7 hours a day, every day. And the C student, he's like, I study 1 hour a day on maybe once on a Sunday before class, 1 hour a day. And then the A student says to the C student, well, all you got to do is study 7 hours a day, every day. Come on, just do it. It's like, do you expect that C student to just suddenly start doing it 7 hours a day, every day?
That's why I said
it would have been better for you to tell that C student, okay, what about instead of doing 1 hour a day on Sunday, why not do 1 hour every day?
Jabari, you are literally 2 hours every day. I said.
No.
Jabari, I go to the gym 6 days a week with my sister. I did not make her go 6 days a week. I said, you tell me what days you want to go, and I will go with you.
1 day a week.
Because, Jabari, you are literally, in that mentality, you are the C student doing it that 1 day a week, that 1 hour for that 1 day. And then somebody that's an A student.
What I would say to the C student
I'm feeling like I'm
who's
talking
doing
to Chris.
1 hour a week, I would say do it 1 hour every day.
Yeah, do it more often instead of that once, right?
Yes, do it more often, slowly.
That's what I said.
What? Wait.
So the A student.
That's not what you said.
The A student is not saying, okay, instead of just doing, 1 hour on that 1 day.
What I'm saying is that C student's already studying. Then that's like me saying to an F student who doesn't study at all. Hey.
No, hold on. An F student, they don't not study. They don't do shit. They don't do anything.
Exactly. So I would say to the F student who's not studying at all, hey, what about just 1 hour a week of study? Just 1 hour. And then work your way up. That's what I'm saying. The people who don't go to the gym at all, they are the F student.
Jabari, but you fail to think.
Goes to the gym once a week, they're the C student, and they can start going.
Jabari, you're making it seem like people who go to the gym consistently, that they were always the A student. They weren't always the A student. They had to go through the F period. They had to go through the C period. Again, and the people who stay with it consistently they go more consistently than people who don't go as consistently. Because consistency builds consistency. Inconsistency builds inconsistency. So if you go once a week, that's going to be inconsistent compared to a consistent schedule.
If you're going to climb a ladder, you don't stretch your arm to the top rung and pull up.
You're right.
Start at the bottom and start.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, Jabari. With the ladder,
maybe you can start skipping
with the
rungs.
ladder, you are not only just on one rung, you're on multiple. And this is why I say that. Because your hand is on one and your foot is on the fucking other. So you're already on two different rungs.
But guess what? When you start a ladder, you don't just hop on and put both hands on. No, you put one hand on, then you put the second hand on, then you put the leg on, then you put the right leg on.
Right. So you put the one hand on, then you put the other hand on. They're never on the same rung.
Yeah, but you don't hop on, dude.
Oh my goodness,
Jabari. The ladder.
You don't hop on. You don't scale the entire ladder in one leap. You put one hand on one rung, the other hand on the other rung.
You start somewhere with one hand, then you start with the second hand.
So Jabari, let me ask you a question.
Let me ask you a question. Right foot.
When you started going to the gym, did you only go once a week?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, and you're not going to the gym anymore, are you? Before COVID even happened, did you go to the gym? No. Let's use you, because you wanted to use me. Let's use you.
Because guess what? I don't have a gym membership. But when I was going consistently, I was on campus. And when I was on campus, before COVID was a thing, I was going pretty consistently.
And what do you define as pretty consistently?
I went every other day.
And did you get any results?
Yeah.
What results? Because you look the same Jabari that I've ever seen.
I mean, I don't take my shirt off in front of you, so.
But here's the thing. When I went to the gym, people saw my results with my clothes on.
Yeah, but you were working even harder than I was.
Exactly, because I, instead of going every other day, instead of starting out with one,
though.
Here we go.
That
Jabari.
Is a different situation, though.
So Jabari, the reason
that's not consistency.
How about
that's not consistency? That is increasing your weight. What? Because I was consistent.
Jabari.
I was consistent. Was I not consistent?
Jabari,
if I'm going on a repeated pattern, that's what consistency means.
But you're looking at it from a college student standpoint. Imagine somebody.
But you're looking at it from a person who works out like crazy.
No, I look at it as somebody.
And I'm saying
who works.
Most people are not like that. Like, okay,
I didn't start out like that.
If I were to talk about being a freaking computer scientist, and I start talking about all this freaking complicated stuff, and I'm like, yeah, you just got to do it. Like, it's just puzzles.
Jabari,
it's like even most people aren't thinking like that at first.
Jabari, you can even talk to people. You can talk to life coaches. They will tell you that one day does not do shit. You need to build a habit. You need to build a schedule for it.
No. Because life coaches they're just as good as me talking right now.
And even trainers.
Someone who knows how they did it, they're trying to say, this is how I did it. You can do it too. It's the same thing.
So you're saying that you agree with life coaches because they give the same advice that you give people?
No, I'm saying a life coach from New Hampshire is just as good as me being a life coach. Because all life coach is doing is trying to inspire people to do what they did.
But Jabari, how can you expect somebody to build consistency following your pattern if your only source of a gym membership was because of campus? Not everybody is on a college campus. People need to pay for their actual membership.
It's the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
What's the reason why I'm not going to the gym now? Because it's freaking COVID. I'm not trying to catch that thing.
Jabari, it doesn't matter. So with COVID,
it is. If COVID wasn't existing, I would be going to the gym.
But you would not be on campus right now. You would not be on the campus right now. You would have to pay for a membership.
Okay.
And if you pay for a membership, if you actually put your money into something, most generally speaking, you're going to want to get your money's worth. So you're going to want to go more than once a week. No,
because you not realize.
Let me ask you a question.
Pattern of people going to the gym early in the year and then not doing it.
What are you basing this off of?
Every year.
What are you basing this off of?
I'm basing this off of repeated pattern of human race.
But what facts do you have to support your claim, at least with the gym? And the only reason I say this is...
What facts do you have to support yours? Because my facts are that you can literally look at statistics and see membership rise January 1st to January 31st, they fall out.
No, until March they fall out. And that's because people didn't go as consistently. What facts am I basing this off of? Not only am I basing it off of statistics, I'm basing it off of as somebody who's actually been in the gym consistently.
To make someone consistent, you force them to go 3 times a day, and they're just consistent.
When did I say 3 times a day?
Whatever, 3 times a week.
3 times a week. In order for me to build consistently with somebody, I tell them, don't do it just once a day. You don't have to do what I do, which is 6 times a week. Don't go just once a week. Find something that works best for you. If you want to build.
So what's the difference between you saying, don't go as much as me, go 3 times a week, than me saying, don't go as much as him, just go 1 time a week and work your way up?
Because if you go 1 time a week, let's keep using the gym, right? If you go 1 time a week,
1 time a week every week is consistent.
Jabari,
let's say if you're trying to save $100, $1 a day versus $50 a day.
Okay, let me change it. Actually,
$1 a day
you have
get
a point.
you to 100.
But you have a point. I don't agree with you fully. You have a point in terms of building consistency. Once a week, that is consistent because you're consistently going once a week. However, that begs the question: what's the point of doing this if you're not getting results? Because somebody going to the gym once a week is not going to build results.
It's not about the results.
Hold on. My question's not finished.
I'm agreeing with what you said before.
I know you are, but my question's not finished. So at what point would they have to start going more than once a week?
Because one, at first, it's not about getting results immediately. Because regardless of how much you go, you're not going to get results immediately.
The reason a lot of people stop.
Okay, I'm sorry. Wait.
No, I said I'm sorry.
The most important thing is the consistency. No matter how lowly consistent it is, as long as you're consistent, you're going to the gym. The most important thing is going to the gym at all. And once you're actually going to the gym, let's say by June, you're still going only once a week. At least by January to June, you could say, I went to the gym. I'm still going to the gym. That's the most important thing. More important than getting the results, because most people, they want to just actually work out. They want results, but it's more important to actually go to the gym. Even if you're going to the gym only 10 minutes a day.
So let me ask you a question.
Only 2 minutes a day. At least you're starting a pattern.
Let me ask you a question.
Once you start the pattern, then you can go more, because then you can look at yourself like, dang, I've been going to the gym since June and I'm not doing anything. I haven't changed my body type at all. Then you can work your way up. It's the same with, say, primary schoolers. You don't start them with calculus. You start them with addition. And then after addition, you go to subtraction.
Jabari, but you keep taking it to different things. Here's the thing. With primary school, they don't go just once a week. They go multiple times a week.
No. But guess what? They're not going on math at an increased pace. They're going at a consistent pace.
Yes, which is
slowly
daily.
Until they get it. Until they get it.
Daily.
But until they get it.
Daily.
But what you don't realize
Jabari,
is that they don't go from the max, or they don't go at a super pace. They go slowly.
Jabari.
They slowly build up.
This
then
is why it cannot be the same thing.
You're learning more things.
Jabari.
Once you get to middle school, you're learning even more concepts every day.
Jabari, this is what you're not getting. Okay, so let's break it down. Because you brought up another point. So let me ask you a question. If you go, let's take preschoolers, right? When they have classes, just like when we were in preschool, you learn math, like you learn the very basic mathematics, right? But you learn that consistently throughout the week. Not just once a week, you learn that consistently throughout the week, right?
Yes.
Then you move up once you reach first grade or kindergarten or whatever, right?
Yes, once you
hold on. I just need a yes.
Move up.
I just need it. Okay, yes. And once you get the hang of that, you move up. So with that being said, the first day in the gym, you find a workout, right? Instead of you moving from, because it's really the same thing. There are different levels of workouts and different workouts. So instead of saying, for example, I'm going to follow a very basic gym workout for arm day, right? There's that. And once you get the hang of that arm day, it's actually recommended in the gym that once you get the hang of one set routine, then you amp it up. So instead of doing that basic arm day, then you move up to, let's say, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's arm workout. Then after that, let's say you move up to freaking Callan Von Moger's workout. Then you move up to Arnold Schwarzenegger's workout. That's increasing the difficulty of your workout, just like that's increasing the difficulty of the statistics of learning within school. That's why it's not the same.
But you're confusing difficulty with consistency.
No, Jabari.
I'm saying building up the consistency.
To build up the consistency of them being in school, they have to go. Okay, so Jabari, because we're not seeing eye to eye, and I see where you're coming from.
Let's say, okay, so here's an example.
Let me ask you a question.
5th grade, I wasn't playing violin, and then in 5th grade, we took the little class for 5th graders for violin, and guess how many times a day that was? Once a week. Once a week, we learned the violin slowly and slowly. Then in middle school, it was like every 3 days. Or what was it? Every other day or something like that.
But that's because you were in school. Let me ask you a question. If you were not in school, do you think 5th grade Jabari would have done that once a week?
Done what once a week? Violin.
Because after your first lesson, if you actually enjoyed it and you said, oh, I like this. This is something I really want to do, which is what a New Year's resolution is for. When you say, hey, mommy, hey, daddy, can I, instead of doing once a week, can I actually do twice a week? Can I actually do 3 times a week after your first lesson? That's what people do in the gym to build consistency.
No. But in 5th grade, I
really wish we could add a third person in here.
Can I get private lessons? Some people wanted private lessons, but most people were okay with that regular once a week consistency. What I'm saying is are those people who are asking for the private lessons.
Because I'm serious about wanting to do what I want to do.
For those private lessons.
Because most people are not serious. So if you're serious, that's why I said originally, well, not originally, because originally I said something that I had to recant. That's why I recanted my statement and rephrased it, depending on the person. Because you're using one day a week.
I was saying most people.
You said
most people, because I said multiple times, I'm talking about the average person, and most people.
That's not the average person.
Need just consistency. To start out.
And Jabari, hold on.
All that's important.
Earlier in the conversation, you said
so you're basing your
hold on. You said you always say once a day, it's once a week. Earlier in the conversation, you said you base your facts or base your reasoning off of statistics, but also knowing how human behavior is, right? Humans do not want to do something once a week if they're not seeing any results. They want to at least see some sort of results for them to keep going.
No.
Yes.
I don't know. That's not true.
Jabari, I'm going to Google it right now. I'm literally going hold on. I'm going to Google why do people stop their New Year's resolutions.
Wait. You're not thinking.
Yes, I am.
Because you think that because we talked about this before in another podcast. Very similar, but because we're talking about the gym, you changed your opinion on it.
And what is that?
What matters is that people think that when they do something new, they will see the results or they will be good at it immediately. But that is not what happens. It takes years and years of work a lot of the time. So what's important is not that you get it immediately, it's that you stick to it. And most people don't stick to things immediately. They need a slow growth. A slow growth of more and more. Maybe they start appreciating more. Maybe they see results. So they want to see better results later. So they start working out more. It's the same with, say, investing or something. If you're investing in something, you put all your chips in one basket and then it fails.
No.
Most people drop out of the stock market within 6 months because they don't see the results, but they don't realize with the stock market, it's most of the time when it's not clown world like it is now, it's a slow growth. When you might go up 100%, but it might take a whole year for that to happen.
In our other podcast that you referenced,
some people get lucky. Some people have feeling of missing out, and they miss out, and they're like, "Dang, I'm not doing as well as Deontay because Deontay got $2 million from this random thing."
No,
I got -5%.
What I said in our last podcast, in that one podcast that you're referencing, I said people had unrealistic goals or unrealistic expectations of when to achieve their goals. In the gym,
and I think what you're telling them to do is unrealistic.
It's not unrealistic because it's easy for you to go. It's easy for you to go to something more than once a week. If you have the time to and you want to start it, you can. It's easy
for you to do it more than once a week.
It's easy for a lot of people because a lot of people have done it.
Let's imagine someone who is 500 pounds and they're trying to get out of their comfort zone and work out for once. They're trying to work out, get out of the comfort zone. They buy a gym membership. And you're telling them, okay, just go 3 times a week.
I'm not saying you have to go literally 3 times a week.
Legs, chest, 3 times a week, and you got
3 times a week was an example. I'm not saying somebody has to go 3 times a week.
Go once a week and build yourself up. Maybe you, after that once a week, that just one time, you're like, oh, I could do this tomorrow. And then they do it the next day. All I'm saying is you got to start somewhere and consistently do it.
Yes, you have to start somewhere.
At the very least, you have to do it once a week. At the very least, if you can't do anything, go into the gym once a week, and it doesn't have to be that long.
You didn't say at the very least at the beginning. You said just go once a week. Now you're switching up your narrative. Because you never said at the very least.
But my narrative didn't change. My narrative is still that you need to start slow and work your way up.
And Jabari, for a lot
that's my narrative the entire time. It's never changed.
For different people, they don't need to go just once. You're acting like I'm a part of the population that can just do whatever they put their mind to.
You don't realize that you are an outlier on people who go to the gym.
It's not just the gym. Anything that I want to let's take the gym out of it. Let's take freaking music out of it. Let's take something.
Let's say violin. Most people don't play the violin. Like even in that group of people who are 5th graders playing once a week, most people don't even play. All these things are outliers. And even within those outliers, there are people who need to slowly work their way up.
Yes.
Some people are super outliers of the outlier, and they are just like, I love what I'm doing. I'm going to do it every day. Some people practice every day. Let's say someone named Pampis Parapona. She, after 5th grade or whatever, she kept playing. She practiced, she got a tutor or whatever. I don't know how much she must have been practicing at home, but she just practiced.
I would have been better than her. I would have been better.
Not everyone does that. So let's say someone named Pevin Pinson. Pevin Pinson, he was just okay with his little consistency of just playing a little bit. But he kept playing. He's better than most people in the world because most people in the world don't play violin. But out of the group, he wasn't the best.
Jabari, there's a difference.
But he was consistent. So even with his not playing or practicing at all, he still learned how to play the violin,
Jabari,
even though he only practiced probably in class. That's the only time he played his violin, was probably in class. But at least he played it how many times a week? Even if it was tiny, tiny little bit. There was a consistency. So he slowly got better.
Jabari, the difference between that and somebody doing it outside of school, because Pevin Pinson, I know exactly what you're talking about, obviously. That was a mandated thing. He went to orchestra. He had to practice in orchestra. So even if he didn't practice outside of that, he had to do it. It was forced upon him. It wasn't because of his own volition. It was not because of his own will or determination. But
that's what I'm saying. Like if you're saying that Evan wouldn't have done that,
why'd you have to completely name drop him?
Oh. If you're saying that Pevin Pinson wouldn't have done it on his own, what makes you think that if it were like, let's say, on a violin standpoint, like if his New Year's resolution was to learn violin, and he was that same mentality, what's to make you think that he would even play it that much?
Because in school,
but if I told him, hey, let's just play one measure a week. One measure a week, that's all you have to do. At some point, he will get through it. It might take forever, but if he doesn't like it already, to the point where he doesn't want to do more than a measure a week, then at least he's learning something.
I agree with you on that.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying people, if they can't even do once a week, then they weren't going to do it anyway.
Okay.
So at least they're starting somewhere so they can work their way up. And because if they can't even do like once a week for 2 minutes, then they were screwed from the start.
Before I rebuttal, this conversation took a completely left turn from what I thought it would take. I'm not going to lie to you, because we didn't even ask you what your New Year's resolutions were. However, this is actually very interesting because I agree with what you're saying. You have to start somewhere. And with some people, because I'm not going to say generally speaking, because we're only 23 and we've only been to college and I've only been to work. We know 2 different groups of people. So our generalities are for completely different people types. I've been around mainly parents, to be completely honest with you. You've been around people our age. I haven't been really around people our age, except for in the gym. But my rebuttal to that is, while I agree with you, people need to start. And if they can't do that one day a week, then there's that. But there are some people that think that one day a week for however long is okay when they truly can do more. That's why I suggested you don't have to do. I actually don't even suggest people go 6 times a week when they start out, because your body's not going to get the respective recovery that it needs. However, I suggest at least go more than once, not 6, at least around 2 or 3. So therefore, your body gets used to this. Let's use the gym, and then I'm going to go to the violin. Your body gets used to the soreness, and then on your day 2, you're like, okay, I can actually do more than I thought because I'm moving my arm. I'm pretty much moving my body more, working it through the soreness, as opposed to saying the soreness is, I don't want to deal with it, or the soreness is bad enough, I'm going to go back next week and do that. You have to work through the soreness to get through it to see that it's not as bad.
But what I'm saying is that most people aren't that, they're just not that consistent. They're not going to be that strict on their own schedule.
Some
All
are,
there is
some
left
are,
for them
aren't.
is down.
It
Some
depends
are, but
on,
I feel like most people aren't.
It depends on what they want their New Year's resolution. That's my whole thing.
Because if most people were really good about their resolutions or starting a new hobby or whatever, then everyone would be doing new
and
stuff.
Honestly,
all the
fitness
time.
is actually, I'm not going to say, I mean, the gym is actually probably one of the worst examples you can use, because the gym isn't the hard part. It's really your diet. That's why it's never really a good example, because people can go to the gym all the time. If their diet is crap, they're not going to want to go, because
doesn't that depend on the type of person though?
No, I would say yes. So let me say this: mentally, yes, but realistically and physically, no. Because if you eat, let's say, a carb heavy diet, you're not going to go to the gym, because carbs make you lethargic and make you very tired, and you don't want to do anything. Have you noticed if you ever eat?
But see, that's where I don't know, because I probably eat the craziest amount of carbs all the time, but I don't feel like that lethargic. No.
Look at your sleep schedule. Your diet
that's
does
different.
You know, your diet actually does.
No, because during college, I ate even more carbs. Like I ate probably only carbs in college, but my sleep schedule was pretty okay.
What carbs did you eat?
Rice, noodles. That's about it.
Okay. So rice, depending on the rice, that is carbs, but some actually has protein. So that's probably why it's been a little not generic, but faulty. Noodles, yes, that shit puts me to sleep.
Oh, rice, noodles, French fries. You guys, anyone from that college?
Okay.
And that's
yes, that's a carb-heavy diet. Fries. Right. Okay. So with that being said, you are
not all I ate, but mostly.
Okay, you are an outlier. And if you ate that around your workout, like you ate carbs, right? You went to the gym and then you ate carbs afterwards. That's actually what you're supposed to eat your carbs mainly around your workout day. A lot of people eat carbs. I'm not saying that's what you did. I'm just giving you a little rundown. A lot of people eat carbs strictly throughout the entire day, and they wonder why they're so tired, or whether they don't have the motivation or the energy to go do anything. That's literally why. So that kind of prohibits the gym for a lot of people. That's also a factor. The gym is a very factor-oriented thing. So if we're taking it to music, that's why I said it depends on the person. Because let me ask you a question. If somebody wanted to, let's say you told somebody, yeah, I want to learn Russian, for example, right? And that's just something that you wanted to take up. You know, it's something that interests you. You're like, all right, fine, Russian's cool. And you do that once a week. Whereas if you say, man, I really want to learn something about coding, and you do that once a week, right? Or you do that one day, like, damn, I want to do that again. You do that again, and like you do it 3 to 4 times. That would be the suggested thing for somebody, if you truly want to get into that. That's why I originally said, if somebody is serious about their New Year's resolution, I don't think one day a week will cut it. It depends on the person.
That's why I feel like most people aren't like they're serious, like they really want to.
They can be a want, but it's not a desire.
History has showed that a lot of people break that resolution within like the first or second month or something.
Just first 3 months.
Within the first 3 months, they just break it because they can't stay consistent. Rather, that's because it's too hard, or because they don't see enough progress, or blah 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 blah. People break that thing, and what's broken is not the progress that breaks them; it's that they just stop doing it.
There's that, and also
you should never stop doing it. Regardless, you should just try to do a little bit, even if you hate it. If that was your goal, like let's say, like the dollar example. Let's say my goal was to save some money a day. It doesn't matter how much money, as long as I save some type of money, at least I'm not breaking that resolution. Because, like, let's say I'm only saving a penny. By March, I'm only dropping a penny in the bucket.
Right.
At least that's more than doing nothing, like just stopping altogether.
Yeah, but that mentality right there.
Point.
No, and I get that. And I haven't
at least do something.
And I haven't been trying to refute this. So if it felt like it was, that's not what I was saying. There was just a difference in the example, or factors in the examples we given, because in that instance that you just said, it doesn't matter. You're not going to be saving much, but you're going to be saving $1, right? If somebody says, I just want to save money, right? And they say, I'll just start off with $1, that's fine because that's their goal. Their goal is literally that $1 a day or $1 a week. That's their goal that they initially stated. People, this is why gym's terrible, because people will say, I want to be shredded or I want to lose like fucking 80 pounds by whatever. That's not realistic. However, within that 1 month, if you go multiple times a week to however much you want, you're going to see some progress within that 1 month. That may be good enough progress for others. It's not for a lot of people. When I saw my progress, I just filled out.
What I'm also saying is that, like, I'm not also saying that people should just keep doing once a week. I'm saying
eventually they should go more. Work their way up to it.
Of course, they should go more at some point because once a week obviously is not enough to do anything. But I'm saying if you are so like not wanting to go to the gym, like where you're just like you're about to give up, like going at least once for whatever amount of time is better than not doing it at all.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
Like starting,
but a lot of
it's the same with like if you're starting an essay, like even if you don't know what to do for the essay, like if you wrote one sentence for the whole day, that's something. At least you started.
Yeah, and a lot of people would feel that
I
would
can't
be
think of
pointless.
anything. I'll just write one more sentence.
Yeah,
it's pointless, but it's more. It has more point than nothing.
It does, but a lot of people, and you can agree with this, if a lot of people feel like something is pointless, they're going to stop it.
Yes, but if you get into that rationale where it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to try to at least do something. Even if it's pointless, let me try to do something. Then you at least did something.
Right.
Like say the essay example. Like, yes, writing a sentence is pointless. Like if you are an English major and you have to write 50 essays a week and you look at some person who's just like, oh, I'm just going to write a sentence. I'm done for the day. Like you look at them like an idiot. You're like, what is this person's problem? Like he's stupid. But it's like, if you weren't going to write that essay at all, at least you wrote something. You started or you continued. Maybe by the end of the week,
you failed the assignment.
7 sentences down. Yeah. You have 1 hour left and you only put 7 sentences down. At least you have 7 sentences. It's better than having nothing down.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, oh, I got to start from nothing.
Yeah, and grade wise, it has nearly the same effect as somebody that didn't do anything. So I agree with you in that regard because essentially you are doing something, and I agree with you. Like I never said that's not doing anything. However,
and that's where I'm saying that difference where someone wants to do more. Those people say, when I was giving the violin example, those people who are taking the private lessons, those are the people with the initiative who are doing more with it.
Right.
Like those people, they don't need that like, oh, let me just do one part. Like they're doing even more. Like say for the essay person, people would be like, oh, one sentence isn't enough. I need to write at least a paragraph if I'm going to do something for the day. And those are the outliers because most people aren't the impressives. Most people are average.
Yeah. And if somebody wants to be average in what they want to do, then yes, 1 day a week is sufficient.
I'm not saying they want to be average, but I'm saying
if they want to,
you being the average is better than you being like the flunky.
Yeah. Okay. I will agree with that. My point is, the only reason it's hard, like to use a violin example, at least like with orchestra, with Pandy's, I forgot her last name.
Pandy's Pamela.
Yeah, with that. And Pevin Penson. With Pevin Penson, he was the average, so to speak. Well, let me not even say he was the average. He was he was really the person that didn't do anything, right? The only reason he became the average is because that was mandated. Whereas with New Year's resolutions, people don't have others to hold them accountable. That's why if somebody asked me, like my sister, for example, she asked me, how does she start? Well, she asked me straight up, how do you stay consistent and motivated to do what I do? I said, it's the hardest thing you can ever fucking do. However, you have to do it when you don't even want to do it. So you build that habit. And I said, don't be unrealistic saying tomorrow when I wake up, I'm just going to wake up right at 7 without turning my alarm back one snooze. I said, that's not going to fucking happen. So with that being said, try it throughout different parts of your day, but don't just do it tomorrow, try to do it for a couple of days and then see how that works. And she's actually doing better, not because I told her to do it for a couple of days, because the first day you're like, okay, this is good. This is nothing. I can do this. And then if you say, let me try it again next week, that's fine. But if you're like, this is good, somebody suggests 3 days, let me see if I can do day number 2. You're telling them or you're kind of like rewiring their brain, so to speak. I can actually do more because this person sees it inside of me. And after that first date, they see that they can do more. Some people don't, but some people don't.
But what I'm thinking is that, like, for self-motivation, to, like, let's say someone's about to break their resolution. And they're like, oh, God, I don't want to go to the gym. I have this, I have that, I have this, that, whatever. My arms are tired, blah, 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 blah. You know, I already went last week or something. You know, some whatever excuse they're giving. All I'm saying is that if they went into the gym, picked up a dumbbell, and then walked out, you know, at least they did something. Most people wouldn't do.
They literally went to the gym.
Wouldn't.
I would tell them.
Most people wouldn't just pick up a dumbbell and then walk out.
If somebody told me, hey, Deontay, you know, I'm gonna be like, hey, did you go to the gym today? Yeah, I went, picked up a dumbbell, and you know, and then I came to hang out. I'm gonna say, you literally went to the gym. You literally went. You're not doing what you really wanted to do, and that's work out. But you literally went to the gym. So, literally speaking, you did what you said you were gonna do. That's what I would tell them straight up. But look, so I Googled something, right?
I'm saying at least you did something.
And we actually hit a beautiful point, Jabari. So can we at least say that we are on a consensus in regards to that?
Yes.
And
basically.
This is why I say that. Because we just hit a beautiful thing. I typed in, why do people stop their New Year's resolutions? You want to know what the first sentence I read is that popped up for Business Insider? And this is just one source. It says, one of the biggest reasons people fail to keep their New Year's resolutions is because they're not specific enough. And that's a beautiful point that you and I just hit without knowing, because you said, man, I don't want to go to the gym today. They walk to the gym or drive to the gym, walk in, pick up a dumbbell and leave. I told them they literally went to the gym. They didn't specify what they wanted their New Year's resolution to be. So with that being said, let's try to alter it now. Now that we know that we were missing one vital aspect, which was specifics. If somebody said, hey, Deontay, I asked them, you know, what's your New Year's resolution? I want to put on muscle. I'm going to tell them, you need to go minimum 3 days a week if you want to put on muscle. You don't have to lift heavy. You just have to lift more reps to get your body used to it.
But that's not specific, really.
What isn't?
Is it?
If they say they want to put on muscle, the way to put
if you say you want to put on muscle, that's not special. That's not specific. Like, that's not the difference between, like, say someone who's like, I want to lose 10 pounds this year. Or, well, obviously, I guess most people would say more, but let's just say 10 pounds or something.
Yeah, weight loss is
like, if you want to say, you specifically,
mass gain.
But then with muscle gain, you could say, like, I want my arm.
Okay, so I'm sorry.
Well, right. I mean, I guess that's different, but still.
Like, if they say, hey, like I want to put on more muscle.
At that same time, it's not
I want to be, you know, I want my arms to be bigger. I want my chest to be, you know, I want to look like, so, because everybody always has an idea of what they want. So if they come to you and say specifically, or, you know, you ask them what their New Year's resolution is, and they say specifically, I'm going to look like, you know, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I'm going to say, you need to eat a lot. You need to eat more than the suggested 2,200 calories for males, and you need to drink 7 gallons of water, because that's what he does. He eats almost 7,000 calories a day. That's unrealistic for a lot of people, especially starting out. So, but if somebody's like, you know, I want to put on muscle, and I want to look like how Michael B. Jordan looked in his Creed movie. I'm going to say, all right, if that's your goal, you have to do his Creed workout. Now, if you've never been to the gym before, that's going to be fucking ass, like, starting out. So instead of following that workout, get in the habit of doing this. I want you to start out. I always tell people start out with 3 days, and you don't have to go day by day by day, like back to back to back. You can do 1 day, go back, go the other, 2 days later, and then go back and go 2 days later. Or you can do 2 days, take a few days off, and then go back, do 1 day, take a few days off, start again the next week. I tell people, if whatever your goal is, let's use the gym, and I'll even go back to a music example. If you want to look like Michael B. Jordan in his Creed movie, you need to get your body used to doing workouts. So when you hit that Creed workout, specifically what he did and that diet, your body's like, okay, we can do this. So you need to go minimum 3 days, get your body used to it, do that for a month, get through the soreness, you're already in the habit, then you can switch up your workout, amp it up a bit, right? So I agree with you. You have to get started by going once a week. But if they're specific, like that resource said, if they give you a specific, then that's different. If they just say generic, then I agree with you. So,
but then I also think with the specific, which I think you said already, but still it has to be a realistic specific.
Right.
Like if they're saying I want to be like Michael B. Jordan, like I don't know, but I'm doubting you can get to some like, super ripped level within a year.
No, you can't.
Right? Or
no, well, I'll say this.
But when I say realistic, I mean like a normal person like who's not like, you know, hardcore working out.
So I would tell them, go for like, you know, do that 3 days a week for about a month. They're going to see some progress, and they're gonna be like, oh, I can keep going with this, right? Then I would tell them to switch up their workout. So therefore because the first month with the 3 days a week, that's really just getting your body used to the workout, number one, but also number two, showing you, hey, I can actually make results in about a month. It's not gonna be the results I want, but it's results to keep me going. Then if you want to look like Michael B. Jordan, that's why I said we'll switch it once you get in the habit, because you want to look like Michael B. Jordan, that's going to take a year plus to get to that. However, as you go along, month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5, each month mark, you're going to see progress because you're doing more. You're becoming more consistent and then tailoring the workout specifically to your goal. However, somebody says, I just want to get in the gym more, don't really have any plans, just want to get in the gym more. Then I'm going to tell them what you said. Go once a week. I personally suggest once a week is the bare minimum. I personally suggest at least minimum 2, 3, so you can get in the habit of going multiple times throughout the week, just so you can kind of fight the soreness starting out. And then,
but my thing is, I'm not saying that what my route, like if someone asks me, hey, you know, I need to go to the gym more, and I'm like, okay, just go once a week, you know, pick up a dumbbell. I'm not saying that. I think my main point I'm trying to say is like,
just do it. Just get started with it.
Like even if you don't want to do it, then just at least do something. Like if I were planning on reading a book and or let's say I want to learn math. I'm like, oh, I this stuff just doesn't make any sense to me or whatever. Like at least read through the chapter. Mm-hmm. Like maybe you don't get it. Like when you're studying, like you're studying math and you're like, I want to get an A in this class. And you're reading the textbook, you're like, I just don't get it. Like some people might just not even read the book after that.
Right.
They're just like, I can't get it. But what I would say is like, at least just read the chapter. Maybe you don't understand what you're reading, but there's a chance that it might click. Like maybe you rehear it in class and it might click. Like your brain didn't put it together, but now it finally put it together when the teacher repeated what you read.
Right.
Or something like if you just do something, it's better than doing nothing. That's my main point. Like if you're about to give up kind of thing.
Yeah. Now, one thing I will say, I will add to that, you have something's better than nothing. One thing I've learned, and it's something I told my sister also, and it's like something that anybody that had to create a habit, like when they wanted to give up, and sometimes it's not even they want to give up, they just end up giving up because they get out of the habit. Because you made a beautiful point that a lot of people wait for. When people don't want to do something, that's damn near every day, or at least multiple points throughout the day. Because then, you know, let's say for a college students, they get burned out real fast because of the work. And some even, because of the school work, and some even work outside of that. So when they have free time, they either want to go out and hang out with friends to unwind, or they want to do nothing but like sit at home, watch movies, watch Netflix or whatever, right? So the only reason I agree with the one, like at least do a very minimum once a week. So you're getting in the habit slowly but surely of doing something consistently, at least once a week. The reason I suggest multiple times is because the first time, let's say somebody does it on Monday, right? Monday's great, but then the weekend comes and they're like, man, I've been doing homework all week. I really don't want to go to the gym or whatever. Then in that moment where they don't want to do it, they're not going to, right? And let's say the next Monday comes around, or like the next Wednesday, but then that's why I would say at that moment where they don't want to, go do it. That's when I would say, okay, just go do it. It could be just for 10 minutes. Yeah, just go and do something. That's literally what I was about to say. That's more of my point. Okay, but see, the reason I misinterpreted it because you only said the once a week, and that didn't account for that moment. Because what if they already had that once a week? You know what I mean? And then the next time rolled around. It just kind of like got a little iffy, or maybe I just understood it or interpreted it wrong, misinterpreted it. But I agree with you in regards to that. My point was more, I guess my thing was more for people who are already about to give up. Okay. And mine was yours was more for people who are starting out, I guess. Gotcha. Okay. So in that regards, I fucking agree with you, because like I told my sister, there are moments where I don't want to play any of my instruments, right? I haven't touched my guitars in 2 weeks now that I think about it. Damn, that's it. But I mainly violin in 5 years. Yeah, but I've mainly been playing my violin. You know what I mean? But it's like, if the times where you truly don't want to do it, if you don't do it in those times, you're going to get in the habit of not doing it. And that gets you out of the habit. Then you have to start back up all over again. So I do agree with you. You just have to, the best time to do something It's when you don't want to do it. Because if you wait for inspiration, wait for motivation, or whatever, you can be waiting your whole life. Whereas sometimes you literally have to make it. And that is my perfect point about as to why I hate New Year's resolutions. Because people wait for the new year because they feel like they're going to be inspired. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's magical. Christmas just happened, this and the third. They're with their family, whatever. They go to New Year's parties and everything, and they're just like, okay, we can wipe the old year away. We have our, Black Eyed Peas, this, and this. And then the new year comes and they're like, I don't want to do it anymore. And it's like, you waited all that time. When you had the motivation, you should have done it then. So now when you don't want to do it, you would still go do it. There are days I don't want to go to the gym, but I think to myself, let's say it's like a leg day. I haven't hit legs. This is what I would think to myself. I haven't hit legs in 2 weeks. The only time I work on my legs is if I'm walking. That's not really working my legs much. So with that being said, I have to go today. I really don't want to, so then I do it. And then I personally, the reason I work out 6 days a week is because I have 2 leg days. First day is just for quads alone. Second day is for calves and hamstrings. And then sometimes I do hips either with the quad day or like the other 2 day, or the other leg day. And I just still fucking do it. You know what I mean? And the reason I have 2 leg days is one, I can isolate the body parts, but also I don't like leg day whatsoever. I'm starting to like it more because I do it more. I actually go insanely more intense the days I don't want to hit legs than the days I do want to hit it. So therefore, when I truly don't want to work out, I'm like, I can do it because I did it intensely the last time. So in that regards, I agree with you on your point, because if you want to give up or if you don't want to do it, you just have to suck it up and do it. Really, don't pick up a dumbbell. At least do 1 set. You can just go in. I've done that before. I was like, I really don't feel like hitting back today. I did some pull-ups. I did lat pull-downs, and I said, you know what? My lats are engaged. I'm fine with that. When I do biceps, I'll just kind of make it to where I'm engaging my back a little bit more, or vice versa. You know what I mean? You just have to do something, so some effort is given. So I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. Wholeheartedly.
I'm glad we, after 70 minutes, we came to a consistency.
Yeah, and honestly, it's good.
Finally,
and honestly, one thing that I hope people, no matter who they are or how many people, I don't care how many it is or how little it is, if anybody listens to this podcast and they make it this far, what I really want them to understand is not just the fact that you and I came to a consensus on what we were saying, because we were misinterpreting what the other was saying. We really didn't take the time to clarify whatever, or we didn't literally what we were talking about. We didn't have a specific goal in mind as to what the other was saying, or trying to understand what the other was saying. One thing I really hope people take from what we just had, or the discussion that we just had, is literally that when you're talking to somebody and you think they're significantly wrong, like you thought I was wrong and I thought you were wrong, you really just have to keep going. You don't have to argue, because if Pevin Penson was here, we would have gotten into a straight argument. You don't have to argue. You literally just have to keep going. And then at some point, it's like I was doing, like you were doing, just saying, look, let's make it as easy as possible so the other can understand and continue going. I think that's the best way to have a civil discourse. Really just talk through to somebody. It's like a 76 minutes, really realistically about 70 minutes, 73 or something like that. But it's over an hour for us to get on the same page, but we're on the same page now. And we completely agree with what the other is saying wholeheartedly. But if we just would have ended it. That makes me
wonder if that's how it is for a lot of things. Even say politics in this country, how divided it is. But it makes you wonder for some things, if, people are agreeing on the same stuff. It's just there is a different interpretation, and, you're like, oh, they're blah, 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 like what we just did.
Yeah.
And it turned out they're arguing for the same exact thing.
Honestly, I believe that is, I'm not even going to say I believe, that is the case in point for a lot, only because a lot of people like to come into conversations and discourses with the notion that they are right. And they're trying to prove to the other person they're right. That's what I was trying to do at one point, and I'm pretty sure, at least I got the feeling that's what you were trying to do at one point, right? However, it came to a point where we said, maybe the other person has a point, because I like to always tell people, I'm only 23 years old, and I've worked and been around many different people. However, I have not been around the world. So I don't know everything. So I could easily be wrong. I'm only 23. I don't want to seem like a snot-nosed brat that thinks he knows everything, but I do know a lot. However, let me see what Jabari is saying, because he has been in a different environment such as me. So his perspective is obviously going to be different than mine. So I can learn something from his. And a lot of people don't like to do that, because I believe you and I talked about it in a previous podcast. A lot of people don't like to admit that they're wrong, or look at themselves in a bad light. And once they do that, they ruin the image that they're perfect, or they ruin the image that they're as educated as they think or whatever, and it makes them feel bad about themselves. And nobody wants to feel bad about themselves. But when it comes like to you talking to somebody else, it's good to actually talk through things and, you know, like get to know what the other person's saying, simply because you'd be missing the whole point, and you both could really be on the same page the entire time. You're just conveying it differently. We're conveying different aspects, but you agree still. That is the case of point with like a lot of things, which is why honestly.
So what I'm hearing, continue.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so I feel like that's why like a lot of older people with like a lot of wisdom, they actually, like when they're talking to people that they have different opinions, or at least it makes them seem like they have different opinions, they actually just like sit and listen to what the other has to say, instead of constantly trying to barrage one another, which is what you and I did throughout the entire discourse. We were actually just, I paused, listened to what you were saying. You paused, listened to what I was saying. We talked over each other. You talked louder and faster. At some point, when I started interjecting, and I did the exact same thing. However, at a certain point, we actually started listening to what the other had to say to realize that we're on the same page. And that's what like a lot of older and wiser people do, because they know that's really the secret to a civil discourse and actually gaining a mutual understanding and, you know, mutual ground. Whereas like a lot of people, they don't like to do that. They like to prove that they're right, or insist or put upon other people why they are right, which is very sad. But it's natural, I guess, because everybody does it.
So then what I'm hearing is that for the next presidential election, they just need to have a 5-hour podcast.
Yes.
And by then, the two candidates will be at peace.
Yes.
They'll just be like, yeah, you know what, you're right.
No,
it's just the most peaceful election in all.
This is going to sound extremely controversial. And we don't need to like go into like a full thing. This is just something I analyzed, and I talked about it with somebody beforehand. The most recent presidential debates between Trump and Biden, or if people are going to get offended, let me use their proper terms, President Trump and President-elect Biden. I hate that people are so sensitive. But anyways, I get it though.
Wait, before you say that, if Trump is impeached and he's removed from office, is he still President Trump?
From what I gathered in my government class from like my government teacher, she said even if they're a previous president, no matter the circumstance, their title is still president, only because they held that title at one point. I feel like impeachment should honestly change it.
Obama would be President Obama.
Yeah.
But like,
I feel like impeachment should change
like,
it,
say
but I'm
Trump
not too sure.
literally broke the law and they're like, you're out of here. 100%. You just killed that man.
Yeah. So I don't see why you would.
And like, he killed someone on live TV.
Yeah.
Or something. Like, yeah, would they still be like President Trump? Like,
at
you know,
that
while
point,
he's in jail.
Being that it's like a severe case, I feel like they would actually strip him of that title. So if he does get impeached, that's probably what they'll do. So let me just say this. Donald Trump and Joe Biden, within their presidential debates, if you noticed and actually paid attention, which a lot of people should pay attention to why their elect was correct and why the other one wasn't, they actually did not listen to what the other had to say. They listened to what they could rebuttal to, but not what they didn't answer directly. But one thing I can say about Trump was just making a mockery of everything. And one thing I can say,
and that's how he does it.
And that's one thing I can say about Biden is he was just feeding into it and really just rebutting every single thing. And I'm not gonna say not intelligently, but he wasn't speaking to his facts or like his points. He was speaking.
But then again, the presidents only get so much time. Elects only get so much time.
Right. Yeah. So I'm not saying they needed like a whole
to
fucking like. Pretty much what I'm saying is like, let's say the mediator asked them a direct question, right? Donald Trump would say something to insult Joe Biden. Then Joe Biden would rebuttal to what Donald Trump said just to defend his honor, which, I mean, obviously if somebody's attacking you, you want to defend your honor. But if you're having a debate and like you're trying to convince people as to why you're the best elect, fuck what the other person is saying about you. You need to answer the direct question, because those are really, at least in some cases, let me not speak generally and give a blanket statement. In some cases, that's really what people want to fucking know, is how you're going to respond to this issue, not how you're going to respond to the person that's talking about, you know, your son dealing with, you know, terrorists or anything like that. But I'm not saying Joe Biden was wrong in a lot of aspects, and I'm not going to say Donald Trump was wrong in a lot of aspects, because I'm not putting my personal perspective out there publicly. But they both did wrong in many aspects, in my personal opinion. But what do I know? I'm just a 23-year-old young man who is going through life and learning as he goes.
Well,
so yes,
I think that was a beautiful end to this podcast.
I do too.
It's way better, honestly. I think it was 100% better than the podcast we will never speak.
Yes, it is, because that we would have gotten canceled, resurrected, canceled all over again, defended, and then obliterated completely.
Man, I'm out. I think I've still cut in the beginning of it, but I'm right when the discussions start, I might cut that right off, and you'll just hear this podcast. So I mean, if you want to hear that podcast, share this podcast to every single person you know, and
right in.
If we get to 30 million listens, I will release that tape.
So you're saying that's never happening? At least not for like 20 years from now. Imagine like we're 80 and somebody's like, "Hey Jabari, I just discovered your podcast. I shared it with everybody I know, and it's at 2 billion views now. We want to hear what you had to say." At that point, we're going to be 80. I don't care what people think.
I mean, what we said wasn't that
bad.
It's just, I feel like it was just awkwardly said.
Yeah, especially in this cancel culture, we had to be very politically correct. Or let me not even use that phrase, because some people won't like that. We had to be very careful of what we were saying to prevent offending some people when we weren't even saying anything offensive.
But this podcast was energized, truly intense. Wait, did you just... Oh, okay, well, I can't hear you anymore. So I'm going to hope that the podcast can hear me. Because, like usual, Deontay just got murdered. So I'm going to end it like this. Goodbye. Good fortune. Follow your New Year's resolutions. Actually go through with it. Be consistent.